guns outside, little bitch, you better be ready. When the guns outside, little bitch, you better be ready.
This first one has the generic title of Star vs. the Forces of Evil, The Lost Episode, part of the ever-growing genre of lost episode creepypastas. This one, however, I discovered by complete accident. I was watching a top 10 list of bad Disney creepypastas from YouTuber Phantom Strider.
Come on, how can they make Star vs. the Forces of Evil creepy?
Using the sources from this wiki page, this will be one of the few fanfics that I'll read in full word for one reason in particular. But before we do, here's a dramatic reading. The following story will shock you. The story would be considered mass murder if you intend to read the story that I am typing. Viewer discretion is advised. Be afraid. Be very afraid. So yeah, I hope you got cleave jokes because I'm gonna steal them. Anyways, it's cleaving time, bitches. Star vs. is a great show, but if there's one thing that I want to erase from my mind, it has to be the shipping wars. It has to be one episode that aired during 3 AM in the morning, just 2 days ago. Disney is known for not releasing their animated shows on DVD as complete seasons, unlike Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network. I assume this episode that I will tell you about might as well be the reason as to why. As if that has anything to do with the fact you saw a bad episode, but whatever. I got back home as late as 2:42 AM, hours before the finals. So instead of studying, I hung out with a few peers. I tried to rest, but I couldn't, so turned on the TV to Disney XD, and while surfing the TV guide, I noticed a surprise new episode was airing. No announcement, nor a hint of fanfare was mentioned in either the channel site or both the forum and Reddit posting. I was curious, although I should just study and get prepared for finals. Nevertheless, it was 3 AM and I was anticipating it. The episode starts with a normal intro, but midway through, just as a male young adult sang, "I'm from another woohoo," the audio was abruptly cut off by sounds of loud screaming and a short-second audio clip of a real-life mass homicide. And they say that a costume party isn't SMP approved, apparently. But by the way, that's a real fact. The intro ended as I felt uncomfortable. I wasn't going to give this a chance after watching the intro, but this was the start of a new episode, and assumed that maybe this was some type of Halloween special they forgot to air this year. I read the TV guide once again just to double check if this was a new episode, but while doing that, I noticed the title of the episode. The title read, "Star Inner Forces of Mass Genocide." Ugh. Okay, here we go.
Oh, right, yeah, because Star vs. the Forces of Evil is a show that talks about mass genocide and has real-life sounds of homicides.
Looks like someone hasn't seen season 4.
That's my joke! I'll kill you!
The meat and potatoes began with Star Butterfly looking at the camera as if she was breaking the fourth wall. But she said nothing. In fact, she was kind of emotionless. During that scene, her body resembles some uncanny valley norm, as if this was either an animation error, or if this was some type of traditional motion capture. She mouthed something, but I couldn't hear any form of sentence. I don't know if this was yet another case of bad editing, or some way, somehow, they needed to build some sort of suspense, so that they foreshadow why we can't hear her voice. As if the traumatizing opening intro wasn't enough of a foreshadow that shit's about to get real. This doesn't help that a loud static ringing noise was filtered in the scene, because as we all know, static ringing noises are scary, and are required by law for a creepypasta to force at least one to make sure readers get the heebie-jeebies. Marco, her boyfriend, walks in her room asking what she's doing, but Star immediately freaked out as if she was suffering from PTSD. Probably caused by the goddamn motherfucking Starco shit. He started to form a sentence, but it took no less than 3.5 minutes. He finally said to her, "Wanna order some pizza?" The fact it even took him that long to say that should have been your cue to turn off the TV, but I digress. The editing admittingly looked like some kind of YouTube poop. When he asked, he sounded like there was an obvious editing splice. You think that's scary? I took 3.5 minutes to edit something scarier. Watch.
Oh no, you got Diaz!
However, I shrugged it off. It may have been some video editing prank or a video joker, as the one African-made film Who Killed Captain Alex taught me, made by a couple of college kids. Of course, the first thing that pops in my head when I watch this episode is, who killed Captain Alex? Is this canon? The next scene features Star and Marco at school walking, having a conversation, but it seemed like the animators put the same walking cycle over and over the same backdrop of the school hallways, as if this was an old Hanna-Barbera cartoon where backgrounds are recycled during walking or running sequences. Yes, I read that sentence under one breath. In this conversation, Marco asks Star if she was okay after last night. I got scared when she replied the following, and I quote, "You see, Marco, I usually say that Earth is a perfect place. Truth be told, it is not." Then she suddenly turned into some Lovecraftian beast and started talking in a very distorted voice. She said along the lines of,
We live in a world of mass shootings, wildfires, homicide, Freemasons, bombings, war, terrorism, tsunamis, suicide, necrophilia, crime. Think about it. This Earth is a guilted corpse that's been fucked royally by the mass goddamn dystopian media.
Whoa, she said fuck. And this wasn't bleeped out either. This never happened in the show before. And lecturing about real-life government conspiracies in a kid's cartoon?
This is like George Orwell's book, 1984.
Listen, I will set fury on this fucking dimension. God will pay for the damages that have been happening because I am God.
As soon as I was about to turn off the TV, I saw a nuclear explosion drawn more realistically than anything else in the series. The citizens, the school children, Marco, the queen, everyone else screamed in sheer terror and agony. The only lone survivor was Star herself. I could not take any more of this. At that moment I was afraid to what might happen next. She was walking back to his place alone with no sound playing, except for the song Freebird by Lynyrd Skynyrd playing in the background. But that said background song sounded a little more muffled, as if there was some kind of last-minute audio error. After her walk, which went on for 3.5 minutes... Wait, is it all 3.5 minutes? Always has been. The episode abruptly ended, like just ended by cutting to black, jumping to the end titles, similarly to the series finale of The Sopranos. And the show itself when you really think about it. I tried going to sleep. I couldn't even study the finals. I was baffled and mortified by this episode. I wanted to type out how this happened, like why this episode suddenly aired once, or if I decided to contact the animators, writers, creator, etc. But I don't think I can explain it. Like, I don't want to go into any more details. I think it's better to keep my mouth shut. Yes, indeed, we must never speak of this again. For the next 3 years. Yeah, it's as standard as a creepypasta can be, and I don't even read creepypastas. Very obviously made for forced shock value. And maybe it's because I'm a grown-ass man, but pretty much nothing in this creepypasta is legitimately scary. On the contrary, it's pretty stupid. Though on the plus side, at least it's good material for people to make cleave jokes about, even though I probably pulled an Amy Schumer on most of them, if you know what I mean. Anyways, what's the next one?
Guns outside, little bitch, you better be ready. When the guns outside, little bitch, you better be ready.
Okay, that looks cute, I guess. It should be pretty tame and innocent.